Hello and thanks for staying with us at Asset Television. Welcome to the news at this hour. I am Emmanuela Akwaya. First, the headlines. Governor Alia calls on federal government to secure Nigeria. Tinubu sends 2 executive bills to the Senate. United States continues strikes on Iran. Now the news in detail. University of Abuja last Thursday began a quarterly lecture series to create a bank of academic work for reference by the institution's students. First guest at the lecture was Governor Alia of Benue State.
Benue State Governor, Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, on Thursday advised that states with capacity should be allowed to establish state police. He made the call when he delivered first quarterly lecture series of the University of Abuja.
I am a strong advocate of state police and have consistently maintained that our current centralized policing structure is no longer sufficient to address the complex and evolving security challenges confronting our nation. I was among the earliest Nigerians to publicly campaign for the establishment of state police, and personally made a passionate appeal to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu urging him to support this critical reform as a necessary and urgent step towards better protecting our people and strengthening national security.
He said this will drastically reduce insecurity currently plaguing the country. According to Alia, northern states currently face more security situation as a result of many out-of-school children who roam the streets without any handwork. He said the northern states should prioritize education and make it mandatory for all school-age children.
And enforcing the mop-up street children and sending them back to school. Also improving the curriculum of our tertiary institutions as a matter of urgency might be, to provide entrepreneurship, practical skills and vocational training to equip our graduates with skills to be self-employed after graduation, to reduce idleness, poverty, and unemployment.
Governor Alia anchors his submission with a call to the federal government to always ensure that only capable persons with impeccable characters are allowed to join any security organization.
Also, more emphasis needs to be placed on moral education, ethics, and civic responsibility in our educational curriculum to help our graduates to be more responsible and patriotic citizens. Also, peace building and conflict resolution needs to be introduced as a compulsory general course in our educational curriculum to promote peaceful coexistence among Nigerians.
According to him, herder-farmers clashes in parts of the country has created a national security threat that must be curtailed for harmony to return to the country.
So recent efforts by Mr. President and the National Assembly in collaboration with the Office of the National Security Advisor to advance constitutional reforms on Nigeria's security architecture are therefore commendable. I wholeheartedly welcome the landmark decision to give serious consideration to this important national issue. It is a bold, timely, and necessary response to the security realities facing our country.
He said police, like other public offices, is an instrument designed to enlighten the society. Speaking on the topic, insecurity and education in Nigeria and the quest for development, Governor Alia maintains that high-level illiteracy in the north has contributed immensely to security situation in the country, informing that in Benue State, over 1.5 million persons are internally displaced, a situation that has become very worrisome to government.
Insecurity remains one of the greatest obstacles to Nigeria's development, and that education is our most sustainable pathway to lasting peace and national progress.
He also mentioned his achievement in the last 3 years as governor of Benue State to include the development and construction of more than 420 infrastructures, with several others awaiting commissioning. However, Vice Chancellor of the University of Abuja, now Yakubu Gowon University, Professor Hakimba Batunde Fawahimi, pledged to institutionalize the lecture for use of graduate studies.
His Excellency has been able to establish illiteracy as a major cause of insecurity in this country. His Excellency has also been able to establish that quality education and valuable investment in education can be seen as an akinetic means to fight or weaponize against insecurity, including terrorism and kidnapping.
Highlights of the event were display of Benue State cultural troops.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, commended Julius Berger Nigeria PLC for the successful transformation of the iconic Abuja City Gate, describing the project as a symbol of national renewal, unity, and urban modernization. The newly remodeled monument was inaugurated in Abuja Thursday at a ceremony attended by top government officials, with President Tinubu represented by the First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu, as part of activities marking the 3rd anniversary of the Tinubu administration and the 50th anniversary of the Federal Capital Territory. Speaking at the commissioning, the President described the Abuja City Gate as one of Nigeria's most recognizable landmarks and a vital symbol of the nation's identity. He stated that the remodeling project reflects the administration's commitment to building a capital city that matches Nigerian status and aspirations. According to him, the upgraded city gate provides visitors with a befitting first impression of Abuja and showcases the nation's commitment to excellence in public infrastructure. He noted that the redesigned facility, complete with a striking water fountain representing the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, now stands alongside notable landmarks in major cities around the world. For his part, Wike applauded Julius Berger for delivering a project that has significantly enhanced the appearance and prestige of the nation's capital. He disclosed that the city gate had suffered years of neglect before the intervention, adding that its transformation was inspired in part of the First Lady's concern about the state of the iconic structure. The Senate on Thursday commenced legislative consideration of 2 executive bills transmitted by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, seeking to reform Nigeria's criminal justice system and strengthen the administration of public senior secondary education across the country. The first bill seeks to appeal the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 and replace it with the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2026, while the second proposes amendment to the National Secondary Education Commission Act. Reading the President's letters during plenary, Senate President Godswill Akpabio said the proposed ACJA 2026 is designed to modernize criminal justice administration within the Federal Capital Territory and other federal courts by addressing deficiencies identified in the implementation of the 2015 law.
The reasons for the repeal of the extant acts and the re-enactment of the proposed Act of 2026 is to address certain legal, procedural, and institutional challenges that have been identified as hampering the effective administration of criminal justice in Nigeria under the Extant Act of 2015. The challenges include delays in criminal investigations and prosecution, inadequate deployment of technology in criminal proceedings, inefficient coordination among criminal justice institutions, ineffective case management mechanisms, and limitations in the monitoring and evaluation of compliance with the provisions of the Act. The bill, as reviewed by a team of law officers with extensive experience in criminal law, criminal procedure, and legislative drafting, have extensively addressed the above challenges. The bill also reflects developments in criminal justice administration, judicial pronouncements, technological innovations, and international best practices relating to criminal justice reform. It has strengthened the administration of criminal justice monitoring council and provides additional measures aimed at effective implementation of the
President Tinubu also transmitted the National Secondary Education Commission Bill 2026 to the Senate for consideration. Akpabio informed lawmakers that the Federal Executive Council approved the proposed amendments at its meeting of April 30, 2026, after which the Federal Ministry of Justice reviewed and finalized the draft to ensure compliance with constitutional and legislative drafting standards. He explained that the amendments bill is intended to strengthen the administration, governance and oversight of public senior secondary education across the country as part of the federal government's efforts to improve the quality of education.
The National Senior Secondary Education Commission Amendment Bill 2026. The purpose of the bill is to strengthen the administration and governance of public senior secondary education in Nigeria. The Federal Executive Council approved the amendment of the bill at its sitting on Thursday, 30 April 2026. The Federal Ministry of Justice subsequently vetted and finalized the bill in line with drafting standards and constitutional provisions. In consequence of the above, the desire of this administration to strengthen the educational institutions in the national interest, the National Secondary Education Commission Amendment Bill 2026 is forwarded to for legislative action.
The Senate President subsequently referred both bills to the Senate Committee on Rules and Business for legislative processing. The committee is expected to report back within 1 week on the National Secondary Education Commission Bill, while the proposed Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2026 is expected to be returned to the Senate within 4 weeks for further legislative consideration. The federal government, through the ICPC and the Nigerian police, is set to arraign former Minister of Science and Technology Chief Uche Nnaji and Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, alleged Director General of a non-existent agency, over forgery-related charges in Abuja this week. However, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission this Monday arraigned Nnaji before the Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court, Abuja. Security operatives arrested the former minister on July 1st at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, upon his return to the FCT. Asset will be back after the short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. The presidential candidate of the Allied People's Movement, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, has said the struggle to stabilize Nigeria lies in the hands of all well-meaning Nigerians. He said this during his consultation visit to Bauchi State ahead of 2027 general elections.
Presidential candidate of the Allied People's Movement, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State, has said the struggle for a better Nigeria lies in the hands of like-minded individuals and groups, hence the need to strategize for the actualization of the dreams come the 2027 general election. The presidential candidate had arrived alongside the national chairman of the APM, Yusuf Dantala, were received on arrival by Governor Bala Kadri Mohammed of Bauchi State at the Presidential Lodge, Ramat House, Bauchi, where a meeting was held behind closed doors, after which the press debriefed on their discussion to strengthen and strategize through continuous consultation on political developments and strategies ahead of the 2027 general election. Engineer Makinde noted that the two opposition governors politically stands a better chance of coming out strongly at any level of contest during campaign period nationwide.
And for me, consulting with my brother is a no-brainer because if I have challenges, before I run to anybody, I'll run to somebody that I know is of the same stock as myself. So that's why I came here this afternoon. He has experienced security challenges here, and it's been addressed. So I wanted to run a few things by him, and it's no regret that I came here because I was fully briefed and I'm taking back with me ideas that we want to also try out in Oyo State. And of course, we discuss issues surrounding our party and
Governor Bala Kadri Mohammed was overwhelmed with the visit by the APM presidential candidate. Governor Bala Kadri Mohammed was overwhelmed with the visit by the APM presidential candidate, and its national chairman said the challenges will only strengthen his effort towards effective support and mobilization of people and Nigerians to appreciate and vote the candidate of APM for democracy and its dividends to thrive in Nigeria. National Chairman of APM Yusuf Entala was optimistic that given the current political situation in the country, Nigeria will rise up to the challenges of taking their destiny into their hands come 2027 general election.
in the history of this country, Nigeria has never desired change like this before. Very shameful. Never, ever. It is very shameful in the history of Nigeria that Nigerians were chased out of their countries by countries like South Africa that work for their independence. And the government of this country is standing aloof. It is embarrassing.
Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has described the early Sunday morning attacks by suspected armed herdsmen on Akpachi village and the Otukpo Nobi community in Otukpo local government area as barbaric and inhuman assault on the sanctity of life and the collective soul of the people of the state. Governor Alia, while expressing profound sadness, strongly condemned the deadly attacks by the suspected armed herdsmen that reportedly invaded Apache village in Akpal Otukpo local government area between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. while residents were asleep. The governor warned that while the people of Benue have consistently demonstrated remarkable restraint and a commitment to peace, such restraint must never be mistaken for weakness. Alia said he was particularly pained that the attacks occurred at a time when the state government has been working closely with traditional rulers and security agencies to foster lasting peace and harmony. A statement by Sate Sokula, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Benue State, stated that the attackers killed scores of people while many others sustained varying degrees of injuries. Accordingly, Governor Alia issued a clear and immediate directive to all security agencies operating in the state to liaise with their counterparts in neighboring states and swing into action with renewed vigor by intensifying surveillance and patrols across the affected communities and border areas. The US launched a new attack on Iran on Sunday evening, continuing days of strikes between the two countries. Iranian state media reported that the strikes killed one person in southwestern Iran while 4 were injured. Within hours of the fresh US strikes, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps said it had struck US military bases in Kuwait, Jordan and Bahrain. The escalating attacks, which cast doubt over the future of the interim US-Iran agreement signed in June, come amid conflicting claims over whether the Strait of Hormuz is open. Iran says it has closed the key waterway until further notice, while the US insists it is open. On Sunday evening, CENTCOM announced another round of strikes against Iran, which is said started at 17 p.m. Dozens of Iranian military targets, including air defense systems, coastal radar sites, and missiles and drone capabilities were struck, it said later. And that's the size of our package at this moment. Do well to follow us on all our social media handles for more news updates. On behalf of the news crew, I'm Emanuela Akwaya. Thanks for watching.